Hello everybody, my name is EDU and welcome back to Let's Play Spyro the Dragon. Today we're gonna destroy the chickens! Destroy the chickens! And today we're gonna be going inside the next world of the game, Treetops. Now, I have a bit of history with this world. This world's layout, the previous level had a pretty simplistic layout to it. This level is the exact opposite. This level has a pretty complex layout where we're going to be using the super jump mechanic a lot throughout this world. Now the thing is that the super jump mechanic, we're going to be using it in a lot of unique ways. We're going to be seeing some stuff that you probably would have expected like a speedrunner would have pulled off or something like that. Where you go into an area that you weren't entirely supposed to go into yet. We're going to be seeing stuff like that throughout this world. It will make sense as we go along. But the thing is, this world has a pretty complex level design. It might be intimidating for some people. It was definitely intimidating to me when I first played this game. But when you really start understanding how this level works, this level became one of my favorites in the game.
Spyro, if you jump at the end of a supercharge ramp, you can really go far.
I'm all over it.
Like you were saying, we can go down these super jump ramp things and press the button and fall to our doom. Okay, I totally didn't have to make an edit right there because I failed the super jump. What we need to do is that we need to use the super jump to break through the crate right there. We're going to be seeing stuff like that a lot throughout this world, where we're going to be using the super jump to our advantage when advantageous. Oh god, I just quoted The Office, and that's a really funny TV, so it can be a little inappropriate at times, but other than that, it's pretty funny. And hey, I'm old enough to watch it, and I think it's funny. But there's this one part where a character named Andy is kind of a dork. His character at one point, I can't remember for the life of me what this episode was about, but he was talking about how he has a huge advantage over somebody else because he has one thing nobody else has, his brain, which he uses to his advantage when advantageous. I swear, that series is full of weird lines like that. I'm going to be explaining some of the enemies of this world. There's two enemies that are kind of like monkeys. There's like a giant one where his arms are larger than its legs. That enemy will kick you if you're too close. The other one that you really want to worry about is the smaller enemy. The smaller enemy, while it is smaller, it will throw bananas at you. The bananas can be a little bit difficult to avoid. Because as we all know, the dodge mechanic in this game isn't entirely all that useful. It is useful, but not that useful. If you know what you're doing, you can do it right. Like I was able to use the dodge mechanic properly a couple videos back, but during the Toasty boss battle. But other than that, the dodge mechanic isn't all that great. It's like Sarla in Xenoblade Chronicles, where it can be useful at times, but he's probably like the least useful partner in Xenoblade Chronicles, even though I actually really like her character. Her character is really well created. Every character in that game is pretty well created, except Juju. I don't like Juju. Yeah, I like, Xenoblade is a fun game. If I could, I would let's play that game, but the thing is, there are 480 side quests in that game. Epic Mickey had somewhere in between 100 and 200 side quests in that game. It took me a year to plan out Epic Mickey, so it would take a really long time to plan out Xenoblade Chronicles. And the thing is, I haven't actually beaten that game yet. And I don't really want to start planning for Let's Play before I even beat the game. Because I want to make sure that it is a game that I feel confident that I'd be able to talk through the entire game. Like, there are some games in the past that I did consider, really strongly consider. But in the end, I decided against doing the game because I felt that I would not be able to commentate throughout the entire game, even if I wasn't doing 100%, even if I wasn't going through 100%. I knew in my heart that I just could not commentate throughout the entire game. That was a problem I had with Tomb Raider Anniversary. Even though nowadays I think I would be able to commentate throughout the entire thing. Nowadays, back then when I did that Let's Play, I really struggled trying to think of things to talk about throughout the Let's Play. So if I were to do that nowadays, I think I would be able to do it. But back then I just struggled with it, and if I knew that that was going to happen, I probably would not have done Tomb Raider Anniversary at that point. I would have put it off until later.
Greetings, Spyro. For an amazing tour of the treetops, don't just stop at one supercharge.
Alright, what he said right there, that is a big gameplay mechanic with this area. That dragon right there, we talked about how we can use multiple charging things. We'll be able to use one in a moment, but first I want to get these treasures right here. And while I do that, I'm going to be explaining my history with this area. This is another area where I had a hard time completing it 100%. There was that one gem back in the Cliff Town that I could not find for the life of me, and it was the reason why it took me so long to 100% this game. This is another level that I had a hard time 100%ing. On my first playthrough of this game, I had the mindset where I would not leave a world until I completed it 100%. The thing with Clifftown was I just could not find that last gem for the life of me. But with Treetops, the thing with this level was that when I was playing through this level, it was like late at night, and I think I had... I actually don't remember what game I was doing at the time. I think I was doing Galaxy, and I had just completed a recording session, like a really, really long one. And I just did not have that much energy at that night, and I was just playing Spyro to cool off. But the thing is, okay, we're gonna have to come back for that treasure chest. I'll cut back ahead to where we were a moment ago, but first I'm gonna finish my story. I just could not, I just didn't have the energy to complete this area 100%, which is a big reason why I kind of struggled with this place. There's one jump which we'll be doing later, that was really difficult for me to figure out for the longest time. And after we got to that point, and after I completed that area, okay, let me rephrase that. There's one area that requires a really complicated jump to complete. But the thing is, I got all the gems except for what was on that platform. And at that point, I was really tired, so I decided to just put the game down and just go to bed. And not play the game again for a couple of weeks or so. So. Well, actually, no, I did not go back to Treetops for a couple weeks or so. I continued playing through the game, and I just could not find the energy to fully complete Treetops. So when I went back through the game after I completed the final boss, I went through the Treetops first, and then Clifftown. And when I found the gem in Clifftown, I felt like a huge moron because it was like one simple gem, and that went way too far. Okay, I'll bet you guys back to where we were a moment, so I'll cut ahead. Back to where we were a moment ago. I pretty much described all my thoughts on this area. I pretty much completed my little story of how after I beat the final boss, I went back throughout the game to complete the worlds, to 100% the worlds I hadn't completed yet, like Clifftown and just things like that. And basically. That's basically all there is to that story. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to be describing how brilliant the programming for this level is. This might seem a little bit too technical, but I just feel the need to explain this. When you're playing some games, you may notice that you're going through a long corridor before you actually go into a new area, or how you're like going through like a tree, like we are right now, before we emerge back into another area. And the reason why they do that is because whatever hardware that the game is on actually needs a little bit more time to fully render the next area. Now you might be thinking, it looks like everything's rendered at once when you play through this area, but the thing is, it's not. The super detailed versions of these models is what's running right now. But the thing is, when we go through this area... Okay, I'm going the wrong way. When we go through this area, what's happening is that the tree we're in right now is the fully detailed version. But if we were to go through this area, but those trees off in the distance, those trees are not fully rendered. Well, they are, but they're not fully detailed, is what I'm trying to say. The tree we are on right now, it's the fully detailed version, but the trees off in the distance, we can't exactly see the entire thing, is using a different version of the model where it's significantly less detailed. And obviously the stuff in the background is a two-dimensional layer. Taking a break from what I was talking about a moment ago with how some models off in the distance are a lot less detailed than the models that we see right now inside the stream. Now we're going to be taking care of, honestly, one of the most complex jumps in this entire game. We need to use multiple jump ramps to get to the top of this tree over here. And let me just say, I'm so happy that I was able to get to that jump doing live commentary. That is something that I'd usually do over post commentary, but I am so glad I was able to do that over live commentary. Got the joy! I don't care that I lost man points during that speech. That was awesome. I did that with live commentary. Okay. And the thing is, this isn't the only point in this level where we see that. There's another jump that is objectively even more complicated. But we'll be taking care of that in a moment. But first, I'm going to be continuing what I was talking about a moment ago. This tree right here that we're jumping on right now, you may notice that it is a lot more detailed than the trees off the distance. I'd already been over that. But one more point that I want to bring up before I switch over to a different topic, is the fact that the distance over there, like the clouds and the obviously two-dimensional trees, oh my god, that torch on the wall, the lighting effect is so pretty. This is such a pretty game. It's obviously a 2D layer. You can go over there, like, it looks good from over here, but if we were to hack into the game and go closer to it, it would look a lot worse. It would look a lot more pixelated. That's just the way these kind of games work. So yeah, that's basically it. So now we're gonna be going over one of the most complex jumps in this entire game. So we need to go over here, I think. I might actually be on the wrong platform. Okay. Yes, I am on the wrong platform. Alright, and this next jump is also a really complicated one. The previous super jump thingy we did, that was complicated. But this one might just be even more complicated. We need to do these jumps perfectly. Jump off that ramp, and then we need to glide over there. And once again, I'm super happy that I was able to do this in live commentary. It's like really difficult to play a video game while doing commentary. The thing is, when you're playing a game, on your own time, you can be like super amazing at the game. But the thing is, when you're doing, I have to continue my train of thought after this guy talks.
That was quite a ride, Spyro. You've learned a lot since you were a young glider.
Yeah, well, you could have found an easier spot to get stuck.
Oh my god. I completely forgot about that. That's one of the funnier things the Dragon said in this game. Something kind of amusing is that those two super jumps that I was able to do nearly perfectly, I did those in like 2 tries, and I'm having a really hard time trying to get to the end of the level because for whatever reason I just cannot do these regular jumps correctly. That's not the case for getting to the level. And basically all I was trying to say at the beginning of this, like a moment ago, was when you're just playing a game, half your concentration is on the gameplay and half your concentration is talking. And then that can be really difficult to play the game smoothly while also talking straight. That's basically all I was trying to say. Yeah. So now that we've completed the treetops, we're going to end this video off here. Next time, we're going to be encountering the boss of this world. Pause for effect. Metalhead. And until next time, you're geared to you. Oh yeah.